All right, guys, we've got brand new information and details about Pokemon Legends ZA running on the Nintendo Switch 2 and some stuff that's happening with the actual battle system as well. That's pretty exciting when it comes to how the Pokemon Company and Game Freak are turning the typical Pokemon turn-based battles into an action sense. Got updates on Nintendo Switch 2 games as well, some new announcements. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Let's start off with Pokemon Legends ZA, of course, and we've got the first details on how speed will work in the game. So this was apparently taken from some of the demos that are going on at Gamescom, and of course there'll be more updates as we get more information, but apparently this is how speed will work in Pokemon Legends ZA. It says the higher a Pokemon's speed is, the sooner it will be able to use moves. In other words, the stat shortens the cooldown time between moves. So this is definitely a cool way of them actually interpreting how the speed stat will work. And just like typical and normal Pokemon, speed is very important overall. You want to be able to get that first jump if you have a certain move or setup. But in this sense, as an action RPG, of course, speed's going to be super important, but also I think things kind of balance out a little bit more here when it comes down to it. But it's going to be based on how the Pokemon Company wants to handle how all of these stats are going to work in unison with the moves and how everything is. An action RPG is completely different overall from a turn-based RPG, and I don't think it's easy to translate how Pokemon works to Pokemon actually moving fluidly all the time with cooldowns. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's not something that can be done at a whim. And overall, we've seen other companies completely fail to translate it to their fans, like Yokai Watch, for example. That did not work with Yokai Watch 4 when it comes to how the fans perceive the move from turn-based to action. So I think that it was smart that the Pokemon Company and Game Freak actually separate things a bit. You're still going to get your Gen 10 turn-based Pokemon, but then also Pokemon Legends. While still mainline, it is a Legends title, which is more on the action RPG front. So I think it was good that it's separate, but at the same time, it's still a mainline thing that people can get excited about overall. So that's how the speed stat works. Once we get more information on how other stats work as people are playing the game, I'll definitely update you guys. But yeah, Pokemon Legends ZA looking really good overall in terms of what they are doing with this game, and I'm very excited to see more about it and just get my hands on the game. It's coming out on October 16th, so it's going to be here before you know it, and that is going to be the big system seller for Nintendo this holiday, along with Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. Some people have been talking about how, oh, Kirby is set up to be the system seller because it's November right before Black Friday, and it's like, no, Kirby Air Riders, it's going to be a game that does okay, but it's not the major system seller for the fall, because if Kirby Air Riders was the major fall system seller, they would have put Kirby Air Riders in a Nintendo Switch 2 bundle, not Pokemon Legends ZA. So I think that narrative needs to die online when it comes down to it. I mean, we had a whole generation of the Nintendo Switch 1. So just because November doesn't mean it's the big holiday game. Pokemon Legends ZA, Donkey Kong, and Mario Kart World are that. Now let's get into another thing with Pokemon Legends ZA. Shout outs to Stealth, he actually talked about this, and I discussed how people are playing Pokemon Legends ZA in Europe right now with Gamescom, and Stealth said this on Twitter: Gamescom impressions from what I've seen for Pokemon Legends ZA mirror the ones from the Pokemon World Championships. The demo is a very small slice of the game, but it's extremely promising. The combat is fun, and the game runs well on Switch 2. So that's what I'm hearing as well. I'm hearing that people are saying that, look, doesn't have the best graphics in the world, but it is a step above what we saw with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, step above what we saw obviously with Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I think that the biggest thing with this game, especially as an action RPG, is for it to run well. We had the debacle of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and honestly, I never want to see that again. That was terrible for the fans, it was terrible for Nintendo, terrible for Game Freak, terrible for the Pokemon Company, everyone involved. That should never happen again. I think that the invention of the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware should put a stop to that when it comes down to it. Should put a stop to the Pokemon Company and Game Freak having games not run well. Now the graphics, yeah, that's still going to be a thing for games overall. We'll see how Gen 10 looks, but I think that in terms of how a game runs, that shouldn't be a problem, especially if they're going to go with graphics the way that they're doing it right now. But you also have to remember that Pokemon Legends ZA is a Nintendo Switch 1 game running on the Nintendo Switch 2 with an upgrade pack. So we'll see what happens with the next generation of Pokemon. So what do you guys think about Pokemon Legends ZA? Let me know in the comment section below. But before we get into the next topic, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos as soon as they drop. Now let's go ahead and jump into the next thing here, and we're going to be talking about Kirby Air Riders. The big Masahiro Sakurai Direct recently went down talking about that, and you can tell that he just has all sorts of passion and enthusiasm and love for Kirby, but also for the Kirby Air Rider game that released 20 plus years ago on the GameCube, to where they brought it back. And listen guys, this is not supposed to be some type of massive, huge, like I said, system selling type of game, but it's a unique, different type of racing slash twisted metal F-Zero combat speed type of thing, because previews are coming out from Gamescom, and this game is fast. It's like blazing fast. There's a lot of stuff going on, even to the point where some said that there might be motion sickness. I think Nintendo Life's preview said that there could be some motion sickness with some people because of how fast the game goes overall. So that's definitely interesting when it comes down to it. But there's some more information that might have been not revealed just yet, but we'll have to wait and see. But it does look like the game runs at 4K 60. Nintendo put out press assets for the game, and they are at a full 4K resolution. Now, Nintendo does this because of the upscaling of the Nintendo Switch 2, so I don't know if it's going to be a native 4K resolution, but looking at the graphics and looking at the type of game and looking at the speed that it was running at, I think that it's possible that it's a 4K 60 game, and potentially maybe even having 120 FPS mode. Now, once again, I'm not saying that's going to happen 100%. I'm simply just looking at the game, looking at the speed of it, and maybe Sakurai does include 120 FPS mode when you're playing in handheld or something like that. Or if you're playing dock, maybe there's an option for that, because once again, the graphics aren't anything super crazy. Looks like they're prioritizing speed and playability with 0 frame rate drops no matter what is happening on screen. You got all sorts of big Gordos flying down, you've got 16 people, you've got a huge area to traverse, you've got blazing fast speeds and items and everything everywhere. I think they want to make sure that this game runs flawless no matter what. So I think that's the reason why the graphics aren't pushing the Nintendo Switch 2 all the way. Doesn't make it an excuse, obviously it could have been better. But at the same time, if we get 120 FPS mode, obviously no frame rate drops, no problems at all. Online play also handles data very well because the data packets aren't as large. I think that this is going to be a hit when it comes to fans and players out there. And of course, the cult classic that is Kirby Air Rider, people finally get a sequel all these decades later. So I'm excited for that, and let's see if it gets a 4K 60 FPS mode. But it's very much possible based off of the press assets that were released and just based off of the game and what we've seen so far. So what do you guys think about Kirby Air Riders overall? The game is coming out on November 20th, and there probably is going to be some more information coming out from Sakurai with the new trailer and stuff leading up to the release. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, let's talk about Hollow Knight Silksong, because speaking of 120 FPS, we have another game that does support it on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, obviously, these aren't the most graphically intense games, but Mina the Hollower, that is 120 FPS. Shoutouts to Celia and shoutouts to Yacht Club Games with that one of Shovel Knight fame. So that's 120 FPS on the Nintendo Switch 2. There's a demo that you can play right now on Switch 2 and Switch 1, but of course, Switch 2 supports the 120 FPS. But now Hollow Knight Silksong also supports 120 FPS based off of the gameplay previews and what people are saying at Gamescom 2025 over there in Germany. So definitely good to hear that we're getting more of this. And listen, guys, I know, once again, not the most graphically intense game. It's obviously an indie title and all that. But yeah, I would like that. I would like to see the 2D side scrollers, the action games, the adventures. If it's a smaller game and you can get the 120 FPS, go ahead and get it done. It's a cool little feature. Most people probably wouldn't even notice the difference between 120 FPS and 60 FPS, where it's easier to notice the difference between, like, let's just say 30 FPS and 60 FPS. As you go up, it gets harder and harder. It's like the law of diminishing returns for the most part when it comes to graphics or the visual look. Same thing here for some people. Now, some, especially PC gamers, can absolutely notice. Now, can I notice? I'm not sure if I can here and there. I'll be honest, man. I haven't played a ton of 120 FPS games, and I don't really game on PC like that. Plus, I don't have a PC that can support 120 FPS normally for a lot of the games that I do have on there. So it's like whatever for me. But once again, it is a feature. It is something that's in there, and that extra smoothness for a pinpoint precise game game like Hollow Knight Silksong is definitely appreciated. So I like the fact that they have it in here, and after 6 years, it's the least, 6-7 years or something like that, it's the least they can do overall. Plus there's going to be a Hollow Knight Silksong presentation on August 21st, so make sure you guys check that out. I'll probably be live streaming it myself as well. So a lot of good stuff with Silksong. The game is looking great, it's playing great based off the previews at Gamescom, so definitely excited to pick up this game. And the launch date, probably October 16th for that one, launching with the ROG Ally Xbox edition and also on the Nintendo Switch 2, plus on Game Pass as well day one. So what do you guys think about Hollow Knight Silksong? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here. We've got a brand new NIS game coming out in 2026, just announced. This is published by NIS America. It's coming to PS5, Switch 2, Switch, and PC, and it's called Star Bites. And it's developed by Inkina Games, and it's a science fiction turn-based RPG, so already right up my alley. So here's an overview of the game according to NIS America. Hop on your motorbot and ride toward freedom in the brand new RPG Star Bites. On Bitter, a desert planet ravaged by the aftermath of an interstellar war, a young salvager named Lukita seeks to escape to the stars. But a sudden attack by a giant robot sets events into motion that will change her life and the fate of Bitter forever. Explore the expansive landscape of Bitter atop your motorbot and fight your way to victory in a turn-based battle system that's easy to learn and satisfying to master. Build up your party, kit your motorbots with powerful equipment, and head out into the deserts of Bitter. Somewhere beneath the dunes, the truth of what happened 45 years ago awaits. So yeah, pretty cool to see a brand new RPG here coming from publisher NIS. Very unique cast and different weird types of bots that you can equip, and RPG battle systems are always going to be one of my favorites, especially turn-based RPGs. This looks like a nice AA type of RPG, AA type of game. Doesn't have the greatest graphics, but it's a smaller end, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but it looks very different from what we typically see from NIS and what they bring over. So I'm looking forward to this game. It could be really cool as a smaller AA type of RPG, and I would love to see more games like this. We have Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion. I am ready for that game. Stuff like Star Bites coming out next year, and there are other AA, not the highest end super graphics games that are coming out that I'm super excited to check out and play. So definitely a good thing. Cool to see NIS kind of branching out here in America, doing some different types of things. But this is definitely a little bit different when it comes to tone and style, and even the developer that they're working with here. I don't think I've ever heard of them before, and I've never played any of their other games either. So I think that this is going to be pretty dope to see more on the game. But I wanted to let you guys know that it is coming in 2026. So what do you guys think overall when it comes to all the different topics that we discussed here? A lot that we went over. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.